What's up, y'all? I'm back for another video. Today, I am reviewing Fatman. Sorry if you can't really see me. It's cloudy over here. Hold on. There. Sorry about that. I was like seeing it through the camera lens. I'm like, yeah, it's a little dark in here, so let me. But today, I'm reviewing Fatman. And then a little bit later today, like probably way later, I'm going to be reviewing Santa's Sleigh. And then tonight probably, I'm going to watch Krampus, but review it tomorrow. So, but Fatman, I remember when this came out back in 2020. And yeah, I saw it in the theater because it was Mel Gibson. I was just like, I had to go see it. It's Mel Gibson. And man, it is probably my favorite Santa movie. And I know, like, yeah, there's the Santa Claus, which I love with Tim Allen, but I love this movie. I love Mel Gibson as Santa. I love the whole, like, kind of like this and Violent Night, kind of had similar little story where it was about Santa, who's burnt out, who's down on his luck. In Fatman's case, it was more, because kids are, kind of becoming assholes, and he lives in Alaska with his wife, who I do love his wife, by the way. Ruth was probably one of my favorite characters in the movie. I love her, chemistry with Santa. Yeah, it's not your usual Mrs. Claus normally, but it's fine. I actually love that she was British. I think it worked. But, because he's losing money, he has to work with, like, the government, and then, yeah, you got this asshole kid, Billy, who got cold one night, decides to hire a hitman named Jonathan. That's Walton Goggins' character, who I love this movie. It's paced so well. Like, I love the scenes where Jonathan is just looking for Santa. That's, like, one of my favorite things in the movie. And yeah, it's a great movie. Yeah, it's not like an action fest like maybe I thought it was going to be, but it was still fun. And then the final fight between Santa and Jonathan was pretty good. And then one of my favorite sequences is that ending scene where he basically threatens Billy. He's like, if you keep acting bad, I'm coming for you. So yeah, I love that scene. Overall, love this movie. It's an interesting take on Santa. I definitely recommend it. It's Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson plays a great Santa. It's a fun movie. Yeah, it's not a normal Santa movie. I'll tell you that right now. Like, it's not your normal kind of like Santa movie, but it's still pretty good. So, a pretty good soundtrack too. So, you can watch this and like Violent Night probably back to back, and it works. So, I would say I think I'd slightly give this the edge over Violent Night. I mean, Silent Night's a different movie. Violent Night. So I would probably give this the edge a little bit, but I do love it. I love both. So, yeah. Later today, I'll be doing Santa's Sleigh, which is that movie is out there. That's basically Goldberg playing Killer Santa. It's an out there movie, and I will tell you that. I remember kind of liking it, though. I remember I had fun with it. Yeah, it's probably not objectively good. Even like Silent Night, Deadly Night is probably a better movie, but I had fun with it. So I'll be reviewing that later. I'm gonna try to do it in a day. It's just I'm gonna be watching Fellowship of the Ring extended edition here in a bit, and that's probably gonna be a lot of my day doing that. So maybe I'll watch that first. Because I'm assuming that movie's only like an hour and a half or something like that. It's not a long movie. So we'll probably watch that first. But yeah. So I'm going to try to get that done, though, during the day at some point. Maybe even late, like, evening or afternoon. So we'll see. But I'll be doing that today. So technically there'll be 2 videos today. And then tomorrow I'll be reviewing Krampus. First time watch for me. I've never seen it. I remember it coming out. I just didn't see it at the time. So I'll be watching that tomorrow. Friday, I'll be doing X-Men Apocalypse, which I'm not going to lie, I'm low-key dreading. I did not like that movie. I liked it at the time, but the more it is aged poorly. So I'll be talking about that a little bit more Friday. But anyway, let's get into it. So the movie opens. We meet this kid Billy. He's like this little asshole kid. He's your typical asshole rich kid, basically. Because his grandma has like all the money. And yeah, so he's like your typical asshole rich kid. So we see Santa now lives in Alaska with his wife, who Christmas isn't necessarily going for him. He's down on his luck. He has to work with the government because they want to keep Christmas going, so he has to make jet parts for them. So basically, they can subsidize his operation. So yeah, it's one of those movies, yeah, where it's kind of like a little bit of sad Santa. I think Mel Gibson portrays it perfectly. I kind of like it. I like Santa who just kind of lives at a regular house. Cuts tree for firewood. Like he's a normal dude for all intents and purposes. He's basically just a normal dude in this. So he then one night Billy, wanting a good present, leaves out cookies, does all that, gets left cold because he was bad. He was naughty essentially. So Billy hires assassin Jonathan, who's actually in the middle. I love that scene when you first see Jonathan. He's like in the middle of a job. And Jonathan has his own bitterness against Santa. So that scene where you see him, like, you kind of see his daily day, like you see him working and, like, training, looking for information on Santa. I love Walton Goggins in this. Walton Goggins is one of my favorite actors. He's always, like, lately, like last few years, I would say, he has become one of my favorite actors. He's such a good, like, character actor. Like, he knows how to play, like, whenever he plays a character, he gets into it. It doesn't just feel like he's just playing himself in movies like some actors. He gets into whatever character he's playing. Django, Hateful Eight, Justified, like whatever he's in, he knows how to. I think he's in Predators also. He was a character in that. Like he knows how to like basically not be himself, and I think that's what an actor should be. So I love him in this movie as kind of like the antagonist. So he then kills a post office worker, basically to get the information on where Alaska is, where the Santa letters go. And the scene, I'm sorry I'm going through this quick. This movie is pretty quick. Like, it kind of goes, like, while Jonathan's looking for Santa, there's a scene, Santa meets with the government people and he has to announce to his workers that they have to do. I do love that scene, though, because it was cool to see the elves. Like I said, it's not your normal Santa movie, right? Like, there's not really any magic. Like, granted, Santa survives certain injuries, and I'll get to that when we get a little bit later in the movie. But aside from that, it's pretty much like a realistic kind of take. Like, yeah, he doesn't climb in and fucking climbing the chimney or anything like that. It's not like your normal Santa movie. So I'm just gonna tell you that right now. Don't go in expecting a normal Santa. Even by the end, like, 'cause even Violent Night, I'd argue, is a bit more of a traditional Santa movie. You have reindeer. He's in the Santa garb. That even more. Even though it is an action movie, it is definitely more still like a somewhat normal. See, look, even like the normal Santa getup. There's reindeer. There's all that. There's none of that in this. There's elves, but that's it. That's kind of it. And it's more of like a workshop than like a Granted, towards the end, it does kind of become a little bit, but so I love the scene when you see Jonathan traveling and the cinematography, just the way it was shot. I love, like, the way they did the time lapse. Like, he would go to, he was going to he goes to like a fast food place, and then you see him eating in the next scene, driving and traveling. That the fucking filming technique they did of that was really good. So Jonathan eventually gets to the workshop, starts shooting at the military, takes out a lot of people, but they manage to evacuate. Then we have a final face-off between Kris Kringle and or Santa and Jonathan. Pretty good fight. Pretty good little fight. Granted, Jonathan manages to stab him, but he manages to get shot dead by Ruth because he chases her. She gets shot in the back, but survives. And then he gets in, and when he gets in, he gets killed by Ruth. And then Santa's manages to recover, and then he backtracks because one of the elves manages to find Jonathan's like little notebook, which has like all the information. So he backtracks who orders the hit, and Billy's mom, or not mom, grandma realizes that there's money missing. And I did love this scene, how fucking much she freaked out. Like, she's this, like, you think she's this, like, nice old lady. No, she goes, like, I'm gonna hunt this motherfucker down. Took the money. But then, yeah, so he took one of her drugs and is basically about to poison her. Santa shows up. Santa and Ruth show up. I love this sequence. He just drinks the poison and basically tells Billy, I know it was you. And that he talks about how he's been too nice to naughty kids and that kids who harm people. He's basically saying, he basically threatens them essentially, like, if I hear you do something again, I'm coming for you. So I love that little scene. It was a nice little scene of showing Santa being a badass. And then his workshop's being rebuilt. And yeah, that's kind of the end of the movie, really. Like, it's a pretty quick movie, but it's a fun one. I think it's a nice take on Santa. Mel Gibson plays him great. I love his chemistry with his wife. That's actually some of my favorite scenes in the movie, besides, like, the action. I love the scenes with his wife. I love, like, those scenes when he's in it. Like, 'cause they actually feel like a married couple. They don't just feel like they're just put together for the movie. They actually feel like they're married. And they've been married for a long time. And it's just, they pull it off so well. Mel Gibson's so good in this. Walton Goggins is great in it, too. Even the kid actor, he was a good little asshole. Like, he was a good little shit. Even, I should have mentioned this, too. When the kid calls, because there's a scene where Jonathan gets called, he can see on the phone, the caller ID, and it says little shit. That is fucking funny. Like, yeah, this movie's pretty funny. It's good. Fun little action movie. Nice little interesting take on Santa, too. Probably my favorite Santa movie. I know, like, Santa Claus, if I had to go more traditional Santa movie, it's probably Santa Claus, Disney Santa Claus. But just in terms of overall, I love this movie. I love it. I'll admit it is a little bit of my Mel Gibson bias, but I'm sorry, Mel Gibson, he plays it well. And I thought he did it good. And I understand, it's not a normal Santa movie, but it's still pretty good. Definitely recommend it, especially if you love Mel Gibson. He's really good at it. Pretty good cast, too. Like I said, Walton Goggins was a good antagonist. So, or one of the antagonists. Technically, the kid is, like, also a secondary antagonist, but yeah. Overall, 9 out of 10 movie. Definitely would watch again. It's definitely going to be like maybe not every single Christmas movie, but definitely will watch it for Christmas. But other than that, yeah, good movie. Santa's Sleigh, I'll be reviewing later today at some point. At latest, will be tonight, but it will be today. I'm going to try to do it today so I can just get it over with. But anyway, recommend Fatman. So that's all I can really say. Alright, y'all. Talk to y'all in a little bit later. Fatman's great. Peace.